Hello there. I didn't even see you. All right, so I'm gonna stop being weird. Hi guys, welcome back to my May TBR part two. Which way do we do that? I don't know. Welcome back. And I'm here to talk about the rest of my books in my TBR. If you guys are interested in seeing what else I'm reading this month, besides those other books, I tend to do very ambitious TBRs. I am a very organized reader. I like crossing off the books that I've chosen for the month. And plus, I just feel like it makes it easier for me to get through my TBR, to not be overwhelmed by the choices of my entire bookshelf. At last count, I had about 200 to 300 some odd whatever unread books. If you have hundreds of books that you have yet to read, but you can't figure out what the hell you're going to read, you end up kind of screwed in a sense, because you don't know what to pick next because there's just too many options, and you end up feeling like, oh, like I started this book, but maybe I'm not in the mood for this. I'm not into it already. It's like one paragraph in, and you're like, but maybe this isn't the right book, and then you end up becoming paralyzed by the sheer volume of choices. So to avoid that, I like to plan out my TBR at the end of the month, every month, for next month. This month, I'm going to say month a lot in this. Take a shot every time you hear say month. No. But this month, I actually had to wait to get a couple of my books because some of them were from book of the month. And then I also have a book that I'm reading that's a sequel for another book that I read last month. We'll get to that in a second. And I have a book that I actually started as an audiobook, but then quit as an audiobook. Not because the audiobook wasn't amazing. It was, but I don't know what it is, but I just felt like I was having trouble paying attention, which is weird. I don't know why. I think with audio, I prefer like reading thrillers and stuff via audio. When I am reading an audiobook, like I'd rather it be a thriller. But when it comes to fantasy, I'd rather read it. So I switched that book to physical books since I did have the physical copy anyway. And I'm so beyond excited, but I haven't even gotten to it yet. I started it like a week and a half ago, and I still haven't gotten to the physical copy yet. I don't have time. It's been really crazy. Last month I read 17 books, and I'm hoping this month I will do the exact same, because I wanted to hit 75 books by the end of this month, so that by the end of June I could be at about 90, and that's the halfway point of the year. So it'll put me well above like the mental goal I had of like 150 books for the year. So far this month I've actually already read 2 books. I read them both on May 1st, and I haven't picked up anything since because work's been a bit crazy. I'm trying to just catch up on sleep because my travel season's almost over. I just have one more trip this coming week, and then after that there's some travel, but it's nothing like week after, like day after day after day. It's more like in a few weeks I'll have another trip, and a couple weeks after that I'll have another trip, that kind of thing. So nothing too crazy. So I'm just trying to like catch up on rest and sleep and relaxation. And I got to see a show today, which was really fun. Went to go see the Heathers, the musical. So good, amazing, just a really, really good show. But the first book that I want to talk about was actually the book. This is a sequel to the first book I read this month. I'm too lazy to look for the first one, but this is a sequel to it. This is Sweet Valley High, Dance of Death. The first one is Tall, Dark, and Deadly, which is one I've already read this month. This is the second book in this little mini trilogy within the series. So if any of you guys grew up with Sweet Valley books, I did. I love them. I was obsessed with them. And this was the series, this little mini trilogy that they did, like this little story arc that they did involving like a vampire guy that like comes to school. And I was like in my vampire hype back then. This is like years before Twilight existed, years before like Vampire Diaries, all that stuff existed. Like this was my intro to vampire, well, one of my intros to vampires. My first intro to vampires was actually Vampire Kittens or something, I don't know. But this book was actually one of my first books that I ever read that involved a vampire, and my library only had 2 out of the 3 books. Guess which one was missing? The conclusion. But it's okay, because I'm an adult now and Amazon exists. So I was able to find the 3rd book. I bought all 3, and I've been working my way through. And I'm going to be doing a full-on review of the entire series, and with the vlog and everything, which I will post sometime this month. I'm so excited to do so because, guys, when I say this book is something special, it's something special that I'm not going to spoil the review right now, you know? So the next book I want to show you is Cricket Kingdom. After all the crazy excitement I had about Six of Crows, let me tell you, Six of Crows was amazing. I loved that book. I thought it was amazing. The characters were so good. I'm so excited to read this and see how it all goes so that I am ready and able to go read the rest. I'm definitely one of those people who can pace out their first book and then the subsequent books in a series out a lot, but if a series is really good, I can't. So this is definitely part of that. I definitely read all of Queen of Blood, like one right after the other. The only reason I didn't read this last month was because I had some other books that were already on the TBR and I just didn't want to disrupt the flow. And yeah, and I wasn't sure if this would end up being a book club pick, and I didn't want to ruin it. So this is the second book that I want to talk about in part 2. This was the book I started as an audiobook, and it's so fun. And I'm to like chapter 13 in the audio, but I'm literally just going to start it from page 1 because I don't know what I missed. And I'm so excited to read this. I've already read A Night of Cake and Puppets like 1.5 times. Like I started listening to it again when I was with a friend because she hadn't heard it before. And we ended up chatting more than listening to it because I'd already listened to it and she was on her phone a bunch, so she didn't get a chance to. So I like decided then, I was like, I need to read whatever series that was part of because that was incredible. It was such a cute little novella and it was so perfect and precious, and I recommend it to everyone. I'm like, go read that. So I can't wait to read this so I can start recommending this to everyone. I just love the characterizations, the funniness. It's charming. I'm still at the point where it's charming, but it has just enough creepy, dark, weird crap that makes it special and unique in its own little way. It's like a little freaking snowflake of a book. Oh my god. And then last but not least, the next 3 books were actually chosen by my nephew, and they are part of when my nephew picks my TBR. So that adds 1, 2, and 3 books to my already stacked TBR. And that's not including any other books that I might be listening to, audiobooks I haven't chosen yet. Usually I don't plan out my audiobooks ahead of time. It's just what I pick is what I pick. But yeah, I hope you guys got a kick out of that. I was so excited to have my nephew as part of choosing my TBR this month. That was kind of like my surprise for you guys, because he's literally the cutest thing ever. But I'm so excited that he got to pick me 3 books, and he picked 3 things I've been meaning to get to. I was really hoping he wasn't going to pick like a romance or another fantasy because I already have a good number of that, and like I just felt like I didn't have enough thrillers. I think the closest other books that I have to thrillers off the top of my head right this second would be the Descendant of the Crane, which is a fantasy mystery courtroom drama thing, and Miracle Creek by Angie Kim, which is a courtroom drama. So like that's only 1. And I love thrillers. Like that's one of my favorite genres, and I haven't been reading them for a while now because these fantasies are so freaking good. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but like your girl needs like more thrillers. With thrillers being one of my absolute favorite genres, like I need some thrillers in my life. Like I just felt like I wasn't getting any. That's what she said. No, I just felt like I wasn't getting enough thrillers on my TBRs every month. So I'm trying to add more, and I definitely want to have him come back and do it again next month because I want to make sure that I finish all my unread book of the months and really get more of the books on my shelf as read, which is great. What I do with a lot of my read books is I move them over to my TV stand shelves or my den TV living room. I don't know what the hell to call it. That bookshelf has a lot of my read books, and then also, of course, like I mentioned before, if I don't like a book, I donate it, or I list the pros and cons for a friend and like see if it's something that they want to check out, whatever. Usually they wouldn't take something that I'm not like, you should read it, this is amazing. But there's a lot of really good books out there, and there's more to come. Oh my god. And that about wraps up my May TBR part 2. I think in total I've shown you guys about 13 or 14 books. And of course, like with the Sweet Valley High book, that actually represents 3 books. I was just too lazy to get the other 2 off the shelves. I think the one is on my read shelf already because I read it. So I was just too lazy to go grab it. And then I showed you 14. So yeah, I told you about 16 books I'm going to read. And this is, of course, not counting any audiobooks I pick up from Overdrive or from Scribd or Hoopla. I literally get books from everywhere, and I'm always reading. So I cannot wait to tell you everything I've read at the end of this month. And hopefully we can share our thoughts and talk about everything that all of us have read. So in the meantime, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys are reading this month, and let me know, if there's any other content that you'd like for me to do, any books that you would totally recommend based on the taste that you're seeing so far. And yeah, thanks guys. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.